So the truth of it is, I've never really been involved with YouTube beef, so I'm not very practiced where this is concerned. I didn't plan on making another video. I figured a response at this point for the community would be a good thing. The culture that I've seen grow since the beginning, since a lot of the channels in the Fandom Menace were less than 1,000 subs, not even monetized, I have seen behaviors from these different people in accordance to who they are and how they act. And that's what I've been documenting that. There's a lot of good that's come out of the Fandom Menace. A whole lot of good. Part of the culture that's been created here, at least that while I've been involved as a YouTuber, has been the idea of silence is golden. Don't call each other out all too much. You don't attack other YouTubers. You don't go after them. So it was very difficult for me to even make the video that I made on Friday. Because that goes against the culture that's been created, at least down here on the ground level with me and many others that have either risen recently or have yet to rise. One of the things about the Fandom Menace that we've always said is that each of our voices count. All of us count. Doesn't matter how big your subscriber count is. Doesn't even matter if you have a channel. All of our voices matter. And I think, if anything, the fact that a little-ass, barely monetized channel spit enough truth to shake the heavens. Long intro. So with everything that happened in the last week, with not even just the last week, but the last several years, the release of the Snyder Cut movement has been around for years now, and they have built up a lot of momentum. They've fought a lot of people in the media. They fought the access media. They have had lies said about them. I mean, the same thing. Fandom Menace, guys, y'all understand. You all understand the narrative that gets put out by the media. We are constantly under assault, labeled as alt-right, sexist, racist, all the buzzwords. You know, all the buzzwords. Snyder Cut movement went through that as well. I wasn't a part of that movement, but I saw it. I watched it. And when they finally got what they had asked for, it was a celebration for the entire fandom. It's a celebration for the community. I mean, even those of us that didn't support it, that's a win for the fans, right? So I was happy for all my friends who were Snyder Cut fans. And it wasn't just that. I'm also happy for my friends over at Geeks and Gamers. I was happy to see, once again, this company, which keeps proving itself over and over again to be in stark contradiction to the narrative that we are fed, the narrative that we are supposed to believe that is forced upon us, the indoctrination, the cultural conversion of ideas and expression. Oh, that whole far-left narrative, the whole extremist ideal. Geeks and Gamers itself is in stark contradiction to that. In every way that it exists. I'm proud of those guys. Jeremy is a guy who's opinionated, who I do not agree with sometimes. That doesn't take away from who he is. Doesn't take away from the team that he's built. And some of the people on his team I know and have known for a long time. They are people that I call friends. As I said in the last video, I'm not speaking on behalf of anyone. I'm only speaking for myself. Because it only takes one voice. It only takes one voice to see what they had gone through. People who I call friend who have been a part of the Snyder Cut movement. Those in the community that have been very excited about it. And I've heard the pros and cons to the situation. But to see them be so excited to meet the guy. To meet the guy they had been supporting for years. As well as supporting a charity. Geeks and Gamers are supporting this charity. Our community got behind this. Once again proving what our community is capable of when we come together to do good things. When we come together to help lift each other up. Man, I am more proud of the Fandom Menace. I am proud of Geeks and Gamers. I'm proud of everybody around the Menace or interacts with us that doesn't consider themselves Fandom Menace. I'm proud of this entire community. Have been. It's why I am writing the books that I'm writing. What happened when Zach opened his mouth and married those two things together? I understand there's just people have different perspectives on this. From my perspective, you don't disavow a company when you've been on other live streams, when you've been with other groups that have been supporting you, not disavowing them. Then you come on and disavow this group that has helped with this fundraiser. And immediately after begin talking about hate and division and all. You're marrying those two things together. That's how I see it. I would like to see if Snyder comes out and clarifies that. I don't blame anybody on the panel for not asking for clarification. What do? You're a deer in the headlights, and it's all about the charity. This whole thing has been all about the charity, and that is one of the reasons why we have had hit pieces from Ripley, whatever the fuck that goddamn site is, and others. This is why we get hit pieces, because of the good things that are happening in this community. What set me off was a lot of different things. The entire community is upset about what has happened. Everyone is upset. Everyone has feelings on this. Some people didn't even bother watching the Snyder Cut, completely disillusioned. We saw how the charity went from steadily growing at a wonderful rate, man. Thank God. Thank the gods. Whatever you believe in, if you believe in anything, thank you. Everyone who supported that, who shared out that link, supported and talked about that charity, thank you. Because that shows what we can do when we come together. These are positive things that happen when we come together. What set me off are the negative reactions. The most negative reaction. It wasn't just that people were already talking crap on Uche and Geeks and Gamers, because nobody went into rage mode. Nobody went into rage mode. Everybody keeps bringing up Eric July. Fine, I'll just speak about it for a second. First off, I love Young Ripper. I love watching his content. I think he's amazing at what he does. He's also a libertarian anarchist. There's a soft spot in your Fandom Menace historian for a little anarchy. I don't always agree with the cat. Him in that position, he would have said what he would have said. Absolutely. I have no doubt about that. But it's easier to put yourself in somebody else's shoes, especially after the fact. Everyone out here, I mean all of us, that looks at this situation and says, oh, I would have been steaming. I would have said something right off the bat. I would not have knelt. I would not have done a damn thing. You're not in that position. You're not in that position. So how can you really say? Do you have an entire team of people, a company that you have to worry about at that time? What do? You remain about as static as you can, and you think about the charity first in that situation. That's what you do. That's what everyone did. The rest of us, we're not really attached, other than supporting whoever we support or whatever we support. So we can just go off half-cocked. But there's some of us in the community that have louder voices than others. When I see someone whom I have respected in the past, who is an inspiration to me to do what I'm doing, who has helped this entire backlash grow, this community that we have. When I see him after several events, right? It's not just this night. I haven't worried about being subscribed to EVS or following EVS or caring about what he says for a long time. I'm completely detached from that guy. One of the reasons I'm completely detached from him is because of the behavior that I have seen come from him steadily. Always involved in drama. Always about burning somebody. Every time he pops up on my radar, that's what it's about. When I see someone like that, someone who's supposed to be a founding pillar of who we are, of our values and our standards. Values and standards that have been created as a backlash against extremism, against people in the media that have control of some of our favorite IPs or influence over them. Consistently espousing drama, creating false narratives, attacking the customer, attacking we the fan. Entire millions of people calling them alt-right, sexist and racist, and the whole garbage narrative. When I see someone like that, pillar of our community, who has dealt with these types of trolls coming after him, still to this day does. When I see that person begin to shame and degrade others, people he calls friends, in that situation, couldn't get on a live stream, had to make his own, then began talking trash, and then laughing toward the end, oh, I don't want to read all these super chats. They're all talking bad about Jeremy. This is a friend, right? This is your friend. If you call that a friend, you call that a friend. I do not see acting in the very same ways that we have been fighting, the culture that we have been fighting. I don't see mimicking and mirroring those behaviors in our own community as a hero. Those aren't, that isn't heroic. Now, I'm glad that this little ass channel with this little ass campaigns under assault, had a loud enough voice, spoke maybe enough truth, hit a little too close to home, that it shook Caesar. Actions speak louder than words. Actions do speak louder than words. I'm glad to know that he apologized. It's a shame that it took little ass channel. Shame it took your little old Fandom Menace historian to call out some bullshit for an apology to happen. But whether or not you believe that was genuine or setting up the preceding victimhood narrative, that's on you. I know that a lot of trash was talked, and I don't care, because I haven't cared. I haven't cared for a long time. I'm not attached to that sphere. That part of this indie sphere, that part of this community, I have nothing to do with. I just don't want nothing to do with them. That's just where I'm at. Not denoting value to anyone. I just don't have time for drama. I'd rather make videos. I'd rather build a community. I'd rather help people rise. I'd rather rise myself, create my company, be with good people. That's why I've surrounded myself with people who aren't full of shit. Don't want drama. I was also happy to see people that came out on Rogue that were speaking out against my point of view. I'm very happy for that. Glad that my brothers have the confidence in themselves and in me to be able to come out and speak their own mind, their own viewpoints, because that's what we stand for. The right as an individual to have our own viewpoints, to have our own opinions, our own perspectives. I fight for that right. So even from my own friends and I've seen in the community, everybody has this kumbaya kind of, this kumbaya. let's all get together and talk kind of thing. No, I have no interest in talking to them. Haven't for the last year. I don't think that a leopard changes their spots, though y'all are welcome to have your own opinion. It's not something that I need in my life. I've done very well sitting out here on the periphery, documenting behaviors, actions, collecting evidence, to seeing who each person is in our community, what they have done, what the Access Media has done, those in Hollywood. Like I have enough information. I have none. I'm not worried. Don't even care. Don't even want to talk to them. I have seen everyone going, well, we should be fighting the real enemy. The SJWs, well, they win when we fight against one another. I understand those sentiments. I understand exactly what y'all are saying. From my perspective, from the evidence, actions, from the information that I possess, I have to ask the question, are we willing to accept the types of behaviors we call out in the Access Media, SJWs, Disney, Lucasfilm, all that? We're willing to call that out, but we're not willing to look at ourselves, especially if they're one of our heroes. We can't call out bad behavior. We're not allowed to do that. That's hypocrisy. If we rise together, all of us, and I mean every single last one of us that carries the hashtag, we all rise together and we still allow people in our friendships, our circles, to act in these ways, the very ways we say we are fighting, then how are we better than them? How are we better than them? That's my question. Now, if I'm wrong about Ethan, his actions should speak louder than words. His actions should be different moving forward. Shouldn't be the same old, same old. As it stands, little ass guy punched up, and I got punched down on. By the way, I am not at all upset about any kind of response. That's a person's right. Everyone has the right to their opinion, especially if someone comes at you. But as I said before, I've never been involved in YouTube beefs like this before. As it stands is going to be my final word on it, because actions speak louder than words. I would implore you to just sit back, see what happens, see who the players are, who says what, who does what. That's what I'm doing. That's all I'm doing at this point. And it's been very telling thus far. What I am happy to say to all of you who have reached out to me in support, thank you very much. Thank you very much for showing that you support individuality, you support dissenting voices, and that not everyone is scared. So this is it. That's my final word on it. If we're willing to accept terrible behavior from people that we look at as heroes, while we're calling it out from SJWs, if we're calling out the fact that cancel culture and hate mobs, burning people, going after people's reputations, destroying their financial viability, if we're willing to call that out from the far left, from Disney Lucasfilm, and from all the idiots in Hollywood, if we're going to call that out, but we're going to let it happen in our own community and not call it out, then how are we better than they? How are we better than they? I hope that this does help to change the course of one or two events, maybe a wake-up call, shake a couple egos, because Fandom Menace, this whole community, it's not just a small group of YouTubers anymore. It's not just the big channels anymore. It's not just y'all. It's all of us. We're all in this thing. There are waves of creators that have come up after you that you have inspired. You have inspired. Whether you accept it or not, that's a little bit of a responsibility on your part as a social media presence. You have responsibility on your part. That is just the nature of the game and where you have grown into. How you use that responsibility is up to you. I stand with each and every one of you when it comes to the fight in the culture war. That will not change. If I feel someone is calling out anyone in our community, wrongly or falsely, I will call it out, and I will be there to defend you. However, if I see you acting in a way that mirrors the way cancel culture acts, I'm going to call it out. That is my job. That has been my job for 2 years. That's how I inserted myself into the community as the Fandom Menace historian writing these books. This is about us, the cultural backlash, the grassroots movements known as the Fandom Menace. So it's not really up to me. It's not up to me how these things fall down, how these events are documented. It's up to you. Please understand who you are in this community. Please understand that your voice holds weight. Please understand the responsibility that has. We are not cancel culture. We do not send hate mobs. We do not squash other people's financial viability. We do not go after other people's campaigns. We do not do these things. We stand together and we defend one another. We don't call each other out when our friends are live and talk trash on them. Happy he apologized for that. Actions speak louder than words. Hail to my brothers and sisters out there. Please sub to my channel. I'm trying to get to 5,000. I am author Stephen Walton, the Fandom Menace historian. Be good to each other, yet suffer no fools. Peace.